Hey, recently I passed 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and I realized that there's no play button for that. So in this video, I'm gonna make one. This is the porcelain play button. So, like with many things, I started with a sketch. I want this play button to look kind of like a cloud. Because I mean, come on, it's still just a dream. But 1,000 subscribers, although it's not a lot, feels like the start. I want the button part to sink in and for it to light up, so it'll look something like this. Okay, so after doing my sketch, I rolled out my clay into a thin slab and decided to lay it over top of a paint box in order to get the shape that I wanted. I thought this would make a really good shape for a play button. I pressed down the edges and then cut off the excess clay, leaving a little bit of a rim so that I could pull it off later and press out the shape. My idea was that after the clay set up a little bit, I would be able to take it off and push out the cloud shape from behind. But I quickly realized that this wasn't gonna work and I had to pivot. So after blow drying it here to force dry it a little bit and trying to take it off, I decided to add some clay underneath to create that cloud-like structure when I draped it over top of the case again. So I took the slab, put it back on top, and began to gently push into all the little grooves. And I think this did a pretty good job of creating that cloud-like shape that I had in mind. There might be a better way to do this, but let me know in the comments how you think the end result turned out, and if maybe you would have gone about it in a different way. After pushing the clay down to fit the form, I pressed in this old card to get that indent that I wanted for the play button. And it honestly did pretty good overall. When I pulled it out, it ended up looking just pretty much the way I wanted it to look. So I started smoothing it out and cleaning it up. If you look closely here, you can start to see some of the difficulties of what was to come. But ignoring all the signs, I soldiered on. And it was only when I started to take it off that I realized how horrible it was going to be. I ended up having to rebuild the sides, and this little mark right here is going to get worse. But I didn't know that yet, so I rebuilt the sides and started carving my play button into the slab. And it was at this point that I realized that this wasn't going to work. So I cut it out, and after doing this, I realized that the slab was way too thick. There was no way that light was going to be able to pass through this amount of clay. So I cleaned up the back and decided to roll out a piece of clay about as thin as I possibly could. I cut out the play button and pinched out a bit of clay to fill that area. I scored and slipped it on, and it ended up looking something like this. It's starting to look a lot closer to the vision of what I had in mind. I decided to drill some holes in the back to let out some light. I know 1,000 subscribers doesn't seem like a lot, and in the grand scheme of things, it's not. We're still at the start. But it's a landmark that meant a lot to me, and I think it means a lot to a lot of creators. So thank you to all the people who have liked and subscribed to get us here. At this point, it's built and ready to be bisque fired. I'm pretty proud of it. So I took it over and put it in the bisque. After the bisque, we're ready to glaze it, and for this, I just wanted to put a clear coat of glaze, so I put a super thin coat of glaze on, which is why you see me brushing it on. I probably could have dunked it in the glaze, but I wanted it to be really, really thin. I cleaned up the extra glaze here and threw it back in the glaze fire. The end result looks like this. I shoved some wires in so that it would glow and hung it on the wall. Thanks so much to all the people who have liked and subscribed or just watched a video. Again, as always, if you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe. And when we get to 10,000, I'll make another one. Thanks for watching. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next one.